Okay, we're going to do a little project today. I have a carving friend of mine that is a lady. I'm not sure where Keoma lives, but she lives in a very pretty place that I wish I could live in instead of this city. But Keoma McCaffrey did this. Let me get my thing right here on what we're looking at. She did this spoon with a cardinal on it, and I just thought it was beautiful. She did a beautiful job of it, I'll tell you what. And we're going to do that as a project today. I asked her, could I use this as a project? She did also one with a crow and stuff like that, and they're just really, really nice spoons. So I traced this, but it's so pretty when you see the picture of it. In other words, I mean, this is the picture, but and Keoma, she's a lady carver that I know very well, and a very, very good carver. She carves a lot of these things for your hair and stuff like that, in other words. But this is a spoon that she carved, and she just did a great job of it. I mean, it's just really, really pretty. And we're going to do that as a project today. I asked her, and she said, well, I could. And she honors me by allowing me to do her project here that she made up. So I cut it out. I went ahead and cut this thing out. And, you know, it's, let me get this around where, and I haven't done a lot of spoons, I have to admit that, in other words, but I just love the way she did this one. I just love the way she did the Cardinal and all that other stuff. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the spoon. Now, you're going to need a gouge for this project, and then you're going to need your knife, in other words. Okay? Now, let me sharpen my gouge. I haven't sharpened my gouge in a while. Just let me for just 1 second. All right. Just kind of strop my gouge a little bit. And this is going to be a nice little project to do. Okay, now if we're going to do a spoon, this is cut out of 3/4 inch wood right here. And if we're going to do a spoon like this, in other words, then we're going to have to remember, this is of course our opening for our spoon itself, in other words. I'm sorry, I'm out here in the wind and blowing everything, and as you can see, this is where her spoon. And Keoma, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to do this project. Really, this is going to be a nice, we're going to do 2 spoons, one with the cardinal and one with maybe just the bird or the little crow, whatever it is like she did. So this is of course our spoon part here. This is you're gonna need the gouge to gouge this out, in other words, in here. And if you have a moto tool or something like that, you can do it. But let's look at, first of all, how the spoon naturally is going to come like this, in other words. So we're going to come from the back side of the carving, and we're going to take this off like this, and then we're going to round this off, and then we'll have the of course we'll thin this up. This is a piece of 3/4 inch basswood. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work on since I have I'm going to go ahead and take some off with the gouge. This is just a larger gouge that I have. And I'm going to take a little off in here. because, you know, naturally this is... Now what you're going to have to do is sort of go like this. You're going to have to... We're going to take that area out in there. That is going to be our spoon part. And the reason I want to do this kind of first is because of the simple fact that when you thin the spoon up, in other words, then you won't have any breakage when you... And see how I just take the gouge and just sort of come around like that? And we're going to make that the spoon part. Now you're going to find that the grain is going to change, so you're going to have to come back over here and push it like that, in other words. Okay, you seeing that? Seeing? And we're just gonna see how I take the gouge and just sort of go around the area that I want to take out, in other words. See? Now you can do this with a moto tool or with a Fordham or anything like that, but I'm just going to use the gouge here. And we're getting down pretty good on it now. We're doing real good. I'm sorry, I'm outside, and I love, as an old man that don't see very well anymore, as I used to, I love to have the lighting from the... Okay, now we're looking pretty good. I'm going to kind of come down here and kind of take some out in there, just like that. Of course, we have to, this will come later, that we take and okay, we've got that down pretty good. See that? We've got that down pretty good. So now we're gonna take our knife. I'm sorry, folks. And we're gonna come back here and we're gonna just take that off back in here, and we're gonna bring this down back in here, okay? And we're going to go about halfway on this, and then we'll see how much. Just like that, see? And we want to come down here. We just want to flip this knife and come down here and make this like this. Okay, you see how what we're doing here? That's the way a spoon is, if we look at the shape of it, in other words. Now we want to take, and we want to bring the spoon, the sides down on the spoon, in other words, that will look kind of, and we sort of sway as we go along here and do that down the way we want it. In other words, see that? When we look at from the side here, we're going to come down like that, and then we're going to bring the spoon itself down on the sides so that it'll have an oval shape. Not an oval shape, but a round shape, in other words. And everybody knows how a spoon goes. So now we'll have to bring the bird down also because it is not going to be that thick. It's not going to do, because you're going to use the spoon like this, of course. In other words, I want to take my gouge again. I want to. You can see, we're going to take a little bit more off in here. And a little bit more off in there. And a little bit more off in there. There we go. Now, what we want to do, continue, is to bring this in so that it gives the spoon an oval, a scooping shape, in other words, where it scoops up like that, in other words. A scooping shape, I don't know what kind of, I don't know where I got that term from, but you know what I'm talking about, what a spoon looks like. All right, now let's look for a minute, and we're going to continue to come down with this, in other words. Of course, this is still a little bit too thick in here. So what we want to do is to go ahead and bring the bird down. Because the bird itself, what we want to see, basically you want to get it down to almost the thinness of the spoon handle. So we'll do that. You can take your bandsaw, you can cut it off, you can cut it to that, but we're going to carve it. Because the bird is not going to be real thick. He won't be real thick when we get through with him. He'll be thin, but we want him the thinness of the handle, of course, on the you can actually come here and with a push cut. Okay, now look, we're getting him thin down where he's looking the thinness of the handle almost, in other words, and that's what we want. Of course, the handle is going to have to come down a little bit, and we will come down a bit with the, so we want to get our bird and we want to bring that handle down now, see? I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. There we go. And if looking from the side here, you see what we've got here. And we will bring the bird down. Changes some. Okay, let's come down a little bit more, and with the handle, it changes in here, so we have to kind of, and we're gonna kind of do the handle like this, give it kind of a just a little bit of a round look. And we want to come up here and we want to make kind of a cut just a little bit where and then we want to kind of just barely shape that in there, as we say. Of course, we want to shape the handle where it is round. Okay, now look at that, see? And let's take a little bit more off the back side of because the back side will be flat. Understand that. It will be, this is almost like a relief. The back side will be flat. I hope I'm doing this right, Keoma. But to me, I think the back side will be flat, in other words. And then the front side will have a little bit of design on it, in such a way. Which puts the bird at probably, let me see, it's probably going to be not, let me look at her picture for just 1 minute. Yeah, the bird is not really that thick. It's pretty thin. So it is the thinness of the handle, or maybe just a little bit thicker, but basically the thinness of the handle. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to kind of just fix this up just a little bit. And we come around here. And we're also going to come around here and just kind of shape this a little bit, where the antennas don't turn. So we just kind of drag our knife a little bit, get those knife marks out of there. Okay, and see that as the now, before I go any further, I want to clean this up just a little bit too. And I'm gonna have to sand that anyway. It's no big deal. Take a little sander and sand that a little bit. All right, let's go to our bird a little bit, in other words. Now, what's going to stand out mostly, we're going to make a cut on our beak, just like that. And we're going to bring our beak back just a little bit, okay? Not a whole lot, just a little bit. All right? And we're going to go ahead and come up here, and we're going to make that cut as well. Because the beak does separate itself just a little bit. Now, it's not real deep, in other words. And the beak sort of, you want to be careful with this beak because it's very small. So you want to be careful how you do it, okay? Here we go. There's the beak. Yeah, it's kind of sticking out. What she's done here is, if you see, is that she's created a 3D effect on the bird itself, in other words. And then you kind of start to not shape this a little bit, okay? Sort of shape that just a little bit. And in here, she shapes the bird. Now, one of the things we want to do is we want to take the wing and we want to cut around the wing like this and bring the wing out just a little bit, okay? And we do that by doing this, okay? Now you can do it with a V-tool. I'm doing it with a knife to sort of show you how to do it with a knife. But we're going to bring that wing sort of forward, okay? When I mean forward, I mean it sort of jumps out at you. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to cut down through here and come up through here. And we bring that wing out is what we do. Because that is the one thing that it shows. And then we bring this down in here a little bit, so that wing is sort of a relief type deal, is what it is, as we bring this area down. As she shapes the piece the way she wants it. And we're going to come back here and we're going to just sort of cut that right there. We're just going to bring this down a little bit, okay? To bring that so that that wing stands out. That's why you don't want to cut too much off back here. You want to have plenty of room so that you can sort of design that. Now you can, like I said, you can do this with a V-tool, but I'm just doing it with a knife right here. And you start to sort of just bring that down where it has a shape to it. See that? Where it isn't just square. That's why we brought the this down here. Now I'm going to need my V-tool also. I don't have it with. I tell you what we're going to do. We've already done quite a bit here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with the. I'm going to turn off the camera now, and we'll come back and start just sort of finishing this up and getting this in the way that we want it. In other words, and. All that way. Okay. All right.